I want to invite Our Lady, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. My lady, may I take this opportunity to emphasize what I started earlier this morning. Permit me, I'm an advocate. I see spaces. What I started this morning to say, the collective and the whole of the girl child is not just the education she receives, but what she envisages as hope, and equally so, how she feels in a school environment. I want to celebrate your intention of introducing subjects like menstrual consciousness around menstrual cycle, sanitary pads. These are taboo topics people do not talk about. But the facts that you have introduced gives us the confidence that when we talk about the whole of the girl child, sanitation must be catered for as part of the educational system. On that note, why not welcome the First Lady of the
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier General Madabio, my dearest husband, ministers of government here present, His Grace, the Archbishop Edward Tamba Charles, Madam Marcella Samba, the chairperson, the principal and teachers of our great school, ex-pupils, not all students, the student of St. Joseph's Convent, our distinguished guest, good morning. Let me first of all take this opportunity to humbly say I'm grateful that I have been given the opportunity to come back to this wonderful school and continue to serve. Some of us, we try not to be too loud when it comes to, they say when you're the First Lady, you serve everyone. But I also want to say that when you're a girl from convent, one shy girl who used to pass around, and today, as the First Lady of this country, I want to say I am so humble and proud that God has blessed me to pass through here. We're here to celebrate an achievement. We're here to celebrate a determination. And we're here to instill perseverance on our girls. When the ex-president, Madam America, came to my office and told me about her plan for us to do this edifice here today that His Excellency is going to open, I thought in my own quiet way I should support in any way possible. And to come back here and see the finished product after nagging David Senge for so long. After nagging, you see, I still call him David Senge. After nagging Minister David Senge, and after making sure that His Excellency the President will go to our dinner and dance, and we never told him that we were going to fundraise, I just said, well, if you invite me to both school and I go, if I invite you to convent, you should come. That was like a negotiation. But I wanted to show to His Excellency that what both school can do, convent can do better. And I know Professor Fowry will be thinking, what's wrong with this girl? What's wrong with this girl is the fact that when a president wants to succeed in this country, they have to come to convent and look forward. Any conscious, focused president will look for a wife from convent. But, Mr. President, you have prioritized this school. I know not because of me, but I know you're doing this because your heart is with education. I know that your focus on educating the children of this nation is not political, because when we look at the number of children that your government is paying for and taking care for their education needs, how many of them are actually going to be voters next year? Not many. So this is intentional. This is your own way of saying to us in Sierra Leone that the only way to our success, the only way to equality, the only way of us valuing democracy is through education, not through violence. When you educate your nation, that nation becomes a very productive nation. When your nation is illiterate, that nation becomes very violent. So the education that you have, the emphasis that you have put on education in this country, I know not every one of us will say thank you to you, but I know God Almighty will continue to bless you, because you would have chosen to just focus on your own children, and you can afford it. You can take care of your own children. But you said, if my child is going to have the best education, every child in this country should have the same opportunity. And the only way to do that is to take out the burden from the mothers and fathers and allow your government to shoulder that burden by paying for them, providing transportation, providing core textbooks, providing learning materials, and in some cases providing food where they can't have food for themselves. So I want to say thank you for doing that for this nation. As the chairperson said, my husband can't focus on education, and I removed myself from the girl child. I have focused my agenda on supporting girls, not because I don't think that the boys are not valuable in our country, but the fact is the girls has been left out for far too long. And there are issues, if we can address them in our own little way, our girls will be women of substance in society. And one of them is having the courage to talk about menstruation. And I do that with pride and dignity, because, like I said to people, when I see my menstruation, I am very messy. And my husband always tidy me up when I do see my menstruation. So that makes it easy for me to talk about menstruation anywhere I go. But the one thing I want to thank His Excellency for, last year, Mr. President, Sierra Leone, through your leadership, put in a resolution at the United Nations for the world to not only hear about the Hands of Our Girls campaign that we have been campaigning about in Sierra Leone and all over, but now the International Cooperation on Access to Justice and Remedy for Survival of Sexual Violence, which you put at the United Nations, will be passed today, and Sierra Leone will be remembered as the country who have put the issue of sexual violence and rape at the forefront of everything they do, and it will be passed today. Let me, first of all, I know they said it will be passed today, 3 o'clock Sierra Leone time, but let me, as your Vuvuzela, congratulate you before they do. Congratulations, Mr. President. When we came here and we talked about the school, of course, when we started the fundraising, we said we were going to do classrooms. And thank God it has been done. But I did promise the last time also, when I came to distribute a sanitary pad, and I also want to say your sanitary pads are on the way, and very soon, as you start in September, we will come to distribute those pads to you. But when I came the last time, I told you, after the completion of the school, I will also provide you with furnitures. I know the government of Sierra Leone has provided 600 tables and chairs for this school, but on my behalf and that of His Excellency the President, personally, we are also contributing an extra 300 chairs and tables. And I promise the 300 chairs and tables will be here on Monday. And I want to thank Madam Enrica for your leadership. I want to thank you for making sure that during your term, there was nothing called politics in your term as the president of the ex-peoples. And the reason why I have to bring this up is the fact that in Sierra Leone, everything we do, we put politics in it. This is a school that has empowered so many women that are serving this nation from different political backgrounds. Please, let us not bring politics in what we do in convent. And I want to employ Madam Mimi, who is now the new president. Well, knowing who she is and knowing what she's capable of doing, I am very sure that she will take right away from where Madam Enrica is and continue leading us. So when I stand next to the mayor of Freetown, I don't see her as an APC person, I see her as a Conventinian. When that time comes for His Excellency to announce campaign, then I'll see her as an APC person. So at this junction, let me congratulate every one of you, every one of us for our tenacity to make it happen. We have done it and we can do more. We can't just limit ourselves to one structure. We can do more. And that more is for us to inspire our girls and for us to make them see us as role model so that they don't watch more role models on TV. The role models you see in America are not your role models. Those are TV role models. Your role model should be someone you see every day and someone you can actually touch and feel. Among these wonderful women, there are role models. From your teachers, your principals, there are role models. From your home, your mother, your aunties and elder sisters, your fathers, you have your role model there. Find your role model closer home. And with that, you will learn not only our English textbook, but you will also learn our African culture and value on African culture. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so very much. My lady, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Mrs. Fatima Madabu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are about to listen to the keynote address. And that address will be delivered by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Mada.
Thank you very much. Let's sit down, please. Madam Chair, Madam First Lady, Ministers of Government, the Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Freetown, the clergy of the Catholic Mission and representatives of the Sisters of St. Joseph, the Clinic, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, if any are here, current and former principals of the St. Joseph's Secondary School, current and former teachers of the school, alumni of St. Joseph's Secondary School, parents, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm indeed delighted to be among this distinguished audience that is united by a shared vision and a common purpose. A common purpose to make education better at St. Joseph's Secondary School and in Sierra Leone at large. When I made education the centerpiece of my presidential campaign, cynics laughed at the seeming simplicity of my thought process. They did not believe that human capital development would appeal to anybody or make sense. But it did to me because of hindsight and my desire to move this nation. Those or some politicians are referred to as bad politicians would rather splash dubiously acquired wealth on extravagant street parties and dish out drugs and alcohol to all-night street raves. I will never do that. I chose education because I believe in the transformative power of education for personal development, community development, and national development. When my mother, of blessed memory, chose to send me to school, it was because she believed then that education opens up a world of possibilities, new social spaces, new intellectual inquiries, and make children relevant to the global community. It is the most assured pathway to a future of empowerment, inclusion, and for sustainable personal and national development. Our choice of human capital development has been intentional, purposeful. I'm pleased that over the last 4 years, citizens of this great nation have shared this vision and this dream with me, and you are making your own effort for us to meet this common aspiration to make Sierra Leone a global leader again in education. It is not cheap. It is not easy. But it has had to be done for our collective sakes and for the future of our nation. It has to be done. Power. I therefore want to publicly thank each and every one of you, administrators, teachers, past and present, pupils, parents, and stakeholders who have worked with me. This is a long but necessary journey, difficult as it is. Let me share with you a bird's eye view of how well regarded our efforts and successes are all around the world. In July 2021, I was one of only 2 heads of states invited to London, to the London Summit of the Global Health Partnership for Education, GPE, by the then Executive Director Alice Albright and the GPE senior leadership. At that summit, Sierra Leone was recognized for increasing domestic financing for education and supporting 3 million learners, for also gender inclusion and gender responsive policies, and for promoting quality education. Most importantly, Sierra Leone was recognized as one of the very few countries to expand its education budget and increase teachers' salary in the middle of COVID. Right here in Britain, in May 2022, my government hosted 14 ministers from across Africa and championed the development of the Freetown Manifesto for gender transformative leadership in and through education. This regional meeting made a global call to action for prioritizing gender issues in education in Sierra Leone, Africa, and the world. In May of this year, the UK Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford, visited Sierra Leone, and we discussed our shared commitments to girls' education. Through the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, Leone Project, we are collaboratively working on providing essential learning materials for every pupil and even more. In recognition of our work in education over the last 4 years, I'm currently the co-chair, along with the UNESCO Director General, for the UNESCO High-Level Steering Meeting for Sustainable Development Goal 4. At the pre-summit in Paris this year, June, we committed as leaders to monitor and deliver the delivery of quality education for all and to hold ourselves accountable from the global down to the regional, to national and local levels. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has invited me and Sierra Leone to co-chair the Transforming Education Summit that will be held on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly this month. In addition, he has also invited me to be among one of 4 or 5 leaders in the world to be the foundation member of a small committee to champion education in the world. That is recognition of our effort. That is recognition of what these great women have done and what we are doing as a nation. And we should cherish these moments that Sierra Leone is gradually returning to the Community of Nations. That was one thing I promised. It is not tangible for most people, but I'm proud that I am among 4 in the world to champion education. And I will champion education for the girl child in this country. In preparation, I intend to hold a series of consultations with our learners right across the sector, from pre-primary to our out-of-school learners. My leadership, my position, my vision of the future of global education will be informed by their voices. We may be a small nation, but Sierra Leone is today looked up to as a nation for transformative ideas on education. And yes, we have achieved all of this and even more in just 4 short years. But the violence and savagery of August 10 reminds us as a nation that there are people and their political handlers who are determined to deprive the children of the future we are working to build. We will not accept that. With primitive and incendiary and hateful rhetoric, they would rather destabilize the 4th most peaceful nation in Africa. That was our position before the 10th of August. We have abolished the death penalty that was hanging over everybody's head, especially we, the politicians. I had the audacity to abolish it. We repealed the seditious libel law to open up the space for journalists, guaranteed free speech, and have no political prisoners and no journalists in prison for the practice of journalism. So, when you cry for a one piece, your piece is different. Our young men are drugged and funded to go out on the street and expose themselves to danger. In fact, we have announced the date for democratic elections over a year in advance before we had to beg to know the date. I have done so willingly, a year in advance. So please, let's give our children peace. Let's convince Sierra Leoneans about our alternative to free quality education, if there is any, but I will never change. My priority is right. Free quality education for every child in this country. My appeal is simple. Do not destroy the future we are building for our children through education, simply because of thirst for political power by all means. If for any reason you don't believe in our vision that transforming education and educating the girl child is good for inclusive and sustainable development, then please sit back quietly and allow us to do what we believe benefits the children of this country. What benefits every rich and poor parent alike. What benefits every parent in this country, regardless of party strides. What puts our nation in the pole position to fully participate in the global knowledge economy. That is what we are fighting for. Yes, there are challenges here in Sierra Leone, but there are equally tougher challenges in UK, in Europe, in USA, Asia, and other African nations, and the world at large. That should not distract us from our common objective to continue to invest in our children, because they are the center of the future for sustainable national development. We have recognized the very unique role of women in national development, and we are working to pass a gender empowerment in women's equality law. I use this podium to call on everyone and for us to urge our members of parliament to take politics away and pass this bill into law. Sexual offenders now know what lies ahead of them. They are served justice faster and locked away for longer periods to protect our children. During these tough economic times, when global supply chains have been disrupted and prices are shooting up all over the world, the bulk of low interest and small business development loans, the MUNAFA, cash transfers, social safety nets, and more have benefited women around this country. With our economic mitigation efforts since COVID struck in 2020, we have maintained essential commodities on the market at comparatively reasonable prices. This is not the same elsewhere. We are making effort as a nation. Things are hard, that is the truth. But things are hard in the world, and Sierra Leone is an integral part of the world. Through all of this, we have recognized that our children deserve better. We avoided extended lockdowns only in Sierra Leone. When the epidemiologist told us you need to lock down at least a month or two for the children so that they don't go to school, we refused. Quickly reopened and kept schools open and still paid public examination costs for every learner, even through COVID-19. This is why we have increased school financing and paid for education of every child who is in school, worked with partners to build more schools, employed more teachers and paid them more, although they need more, and are trying for more. I wish I had it, I will give it to you willingly, because you are great people. We have improved the school curriculum and provided teaching and learning materials, provided school feeding, made school a safer and more inclusive space through radical inclusion, and even more. You heard the minister talk about that girl from Magdalene, from Kailan. She deserves our support, and we will support her. She is a woman of substance in the making. Her dogged determination against all odds must be supported. As a result of all of those investments, we have registered a number of firsts in the history of this country. We now have the highest proportion of female teachers and female education leaders than at any time in the history of this country. Umandende. Only we can do that. We are building hostels in Kailam, Matru, Pujang, and soon in Kabbalah for girls from economically challenged backgrounds who want to pursue their education safely and securely away from home. This is to prevent teenage pregnancy, which is taking a toll in the women folk of this country. A very unacceptable proportion of those who die giving birth are really our children, less than 19 years old. As a result of all of these various interventions, including the First Lady's nationwide Hands Off Our Girls and the work of the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, the Ministry of Social Welfare, there is now greater protection for the girl child. This campaign, as we all know, has made men to behave themselves. Behavior. Men are better behaved now, especially with respect to our girl child. We should nurture them. I think it was Madam Chairperson who said they deserve to be nurtured. They are special. They are a special group of children who must be provided with protection, especially in the formative years. I hope they listen to us. Social media is a distraction. The truth is, we cannot control social media. But we still have a means to control our children. And that is why when the minister spoke about us being critical learners, teachers, I'm not yet a teacher. I hope to be a teacher one day. I actually taught for only 3 months somewhere. Because you just cannot control this explosion of technology, let's use the power we have over these young kids to know what is right and what is wrong. It is not everything that you see in social media that is correct. Critical thinking, as the minister was saying, is what we have to impart to them. Transferable skills, so that out of school, the teacher is not there, the parent is not there. She will look at a picture and say, this is not good for me. Make that quick. It is not good for me. If I want to be Miss Dillsworth, if I want to be the First Lady, I want to be Professor Conte, this is not the sort of things I should be doing. Critical thinking. It is not enough to impart academic knowledge alone today. They are bombarded and faced with new situations evolving and emerging almost beyond our control. That is the truth. But we can develop them to know what is right and what is wrong. And it is a chain from the parent to the teachers It is a community job. We failed to do this. We have failed, but I hope we rise to the occasion. When I learned that parents, we are buying examination papers, and teachers, we are helping the kids, principals involved, and we're yet to finalize. They will download not only the question, but the answer. This is not the best use of technology. This is not the best use of technology. Ladies and gentlemen, education is the only way out. And we must give our children the best education with morals. Let's teach them to know what is right and what is wrong. We, as a government, have achieved gender parity in schools at all levels. More girls are in school at all levels. More girls are taking and passing public examinations. More girls are transitioning into tertiary and higher education institutions all around this country. For the first time in the history of this country, it is possible for a girl child studying STEM disciplines to start from nursery to the end of university at no cost to the parents. For the first time in the history of this country, girls are provided with free menstruation kits. Thanks be to the First Lady. They no longer have to lose learning days and go through the stigma and shame of menstruation. She is tackling how do you call it? Poverty, menstrual poverty. Men find it difficult to talk about menstruation, but they will come after menstruation. They know it's there, and they don't want to talk about it. When you see after menstruation, they will see the tell them about menstruation. It is a natural biological occurrence. If it does not happen, something is wrong. So why are we afraid? Right now, somebody feels to go to the restroom. They will not even seek my permission. They will just go. So why are we afraid and making menstruation a taboo? Let them know. Let the kids know. Let's talk about it. You can't be shy from your bathtub. You are going to jump in there, and you're not going to wash with your clothes on. You are going to take them off. So, I want the men to come to the table and join the women. We must teach. We must take care of period poverty. Let's help them. And starting in October, for the first time in the history of this country, we have worked with partners to provide 150,000 doses of HPV vaccines for free to all girls at the age of 10 and 11. What is HPV vaccine? Cervical cancer is taking a toll on our women folk in this country. If we can capture them before they start to have sex and they get this vaccine, it protects them for life. May her soul rest in peace. My mother died of cervical cancer. The risk of cervical cancer will be greatly reduced among those girls who will be vaccinated. Again, I hope nobody brings in politics. When we initiated, the madam initiated the issue about sanitary pads, they said it is caustic. They have food poison in there to destroy the women, the girls. We have shared it all around this country, and no one has come up to say, I've had a defect or a problem. That is how caustic our politics is getting. We are only trying to help. She is only trying to help. She found a way to complement the efforts that are making in mainstream government. There is more to say about what we have done to ensure the future of sterling global success for our children, especially for our girls. We have done this together. You have bought into my dream, my vision to bring education to this country. As presidential candidate, I set out a bold vision that schools must revert to a single shift system. I argued then that the double shift system was expensive, compromised the quality of learning, endangered our pupils, especially our girls, and was not a sustainable and rational solution to school overcrowding. Project 2 in 1 that was initiated by alumni of this school, as previous speakers have indicated, plugged into this vision for the reason I have stated. I commend you, ex-pupils, and for all those who supported this, for undertaking this great project, undeterred by COVID-19, tough economic times, and persisting to a successful outcome. Papa is alive. That is Papa. Against all odds. The modern learning facility I've heard about and will be touring soon will no doubt give St. Joseph's Secondary School a competitive edge. I have no doubt that as it is named after a great icon of education in our nation's history, the Florence Dillsworth building will indeed serve generations of students at this school and in our beloved nation. Look at how many people this great institution has produced in all walks of life. This is the beauty of education. Ladies and gentlemen, I will formally declare the Florence Dillsworth building open, and I thank you for your kind attention.
You can't leave. You can't leave. I don't go to Sorry. You won't get your chance. I'm sorry. All right. For the greater glory of God and for the advancement of quality. In Leone, I unveil this plaque. For the glory of Almighty God, the foundation stone of the Florence Dillsworth building was laid on 10th October 2020 by the Archbishop of Freetown, Dr. Edward Thomas Charles, and the Sisters of St. Joseph.
Do we not go beyond this pillar?
Okay.
And the plaque reads, the 2-to-1 Asphalt Building Committee and we list the names of the committee, ex-pupils of Freetown, Mid-Atlantic, Southeastern, Texas, California, USA, and the principals, and a consultant, realty ladder, and Ready Construction Company. To God be the glory. The construction of the Florence Dillsworth building was done under the supervision of the 2017-2022 St. Joseph Secondary School Next Schools Executive. The list is there. We can keep president, Archibald Vice President 1, Leon Controller Vice President 2, Martin Control Secretary, Mr. Brad Treasurer, Michaela Payton, Financial Secretary, Uriah the Coach, Social Secretary, Lucretia John, Assistant Social Secretary, Antonia Kazakona, Auditor, Mr. James Auditor, Maddy Victoria Chaplain, and we have two ex-officials, Ifo McVeigh and Abdul.
Oh, John. Mukhtar.
With honor and delight, I now formally commission this great edifice that will be called the Florence Dillsworth building.
All right. Okay. There you go.
The grand official opening of the first days for the building was done on Friday, 2nd September 2022 by His Excellency Dr. Julius Madavio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and supported by Dr. David Moendi Senge, Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, and Dr. Edward Tambachaz, Archbishop of the Catholic Diocese of Freetown, consultants, Renini, Bada, and the contractor, Red Construction Company. Thank you.
Hey, oh no. No, boy, this is
Andrea was talking to a lot of students and
Yes, sir. Library.
yes.
Oh, let's get wait, outside.
Okay, let's just go to No, this one. I'm not going to say that.
Can we enter, please? Can we enter? Please, can we enter? Just madam.
We need to go to now.
put out. No, put out his shoulder. Put out his shoulder. Oh my
These are some of the chairs here. Even universities, they're not getting a chair. These are all about
I don't spend the much time
all right.
Please, they're not gonna. I'm not going to tell you.
Hey, hey, what's going on? Okay, okay. I'm just saying, no.
Are the president chairs this group?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, these are the samples of chairs promised by the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. These are just samples. She promised 300 of them.
Well, it belongs to the Catholic Bishop, so we're in dialogue with him so that we have community discipline, which they will do
You're going to break before well, the Caribbean, bro.
Yes, we need to. Then I come.
What's the first subject today?
Today is English. It's biology.
No, she was not at the level. She did general science.
Oh, I see.
because the top picture will take the rest. Maybe not say let the left hand take one, so we didn't just decide to bring that.
So the 150 chairs are already in the school. The ones promised by the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. So these are just samples. Very strong chairs on table.
I was free. Okay.
I'll send you photo to the photo for life. Smile out. Hey, you back? Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, can you? Yes, yes, please.
All right. Yes. One on that side. We are going to have the largest picture. Okay. So when I do it, they cover the picture. Okay, let's go. Okay.
Thank you very much. And we're going to take one with the alone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Yes, madam. The
Okay, we're going in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, yes.